another episode of 4K Garage. In this episode, I would like to try and get the new Rocket Bunny front bumper on the car. Let's have a little look at it, shall we? So of course I really want to get the Rocket Bunny bumper on first because it's kind of the central point. It's probably the easiest bit, doesn't require any cutting just to fit it, and it kind of allows me to then square up all the arches that then go around the car. You got the front arch, the side skirt, the rear arch. So I want to get it fitted first. Should be fairly simple, just place the bumper essentially. Let's have a look at what is going on the current bumper. Here we are. So as I said previously, this car was actually in it had been in a crash when I originally bought it, and I fixed it up and so on. So a lot of this hardware here is all brand new just because a lot of it was lost in the crash. Of course there's no airbox, there's good accessibility to everything, new headlights, these side markers don't do anything. The wiring actually on this corner was completely teared out with the original bumper, so I've got my side markers up on the wings there, so I don't have to worry about that. Still, all my little plastic under trays I'll have to take off, and then the arch stringers, I may as well just take them out altogether because I'm going to have to do a few bits and bobs to see how the wheel turns. So let's just get to it, ready? Get the car up in the air, crack into it. So the majority of the bolts that I've used here are just these little Allen key bolts of a washer. Yeah, nothing special, look a bit nice. They're probably a bit terrible, but they're not really holding anything structural, so you know, why not? And they come in, you can get them in big quantities. Got them everywhere, got a whole pot of them here. So I'll just take them all off. Ta-da! Got the bumper off now. It'll be easier than probably what standard bumper would be. I didn't want to do a little how-to on the process. I was hoping to give you guys a little time lapse, but my camera ran out of space, so all of that footage is corrupt. Fantastic. So there's a couple of bits we need to do to fit the Rocket Bunny bumper. One thing I know for sure is that we have to remove these bumper clips here, because the new bumper actually just bolts right up to the front wing. So that's what I'm going to do now.
I know it's been a while. I know you're thinking the same, but I've been feeling like my moment can't go to waste. I let go of your name, girl. I figured that was it. I stopped playing your game, girl. Yeah, I thought I could quit. I'm sorry for what I did. Wish I could have it unsaid. Just make it right instead of treating me like I'm dead.
So another thing I've been needing to do is actually spray the crash bar black. It was, funny enough, black once upon a time when I purchased it when fixing up the car. And then of course the opening on the front of the Rocket Bunny, you can actually see the crash bar or the polystyrene if you keep it there. But I've taken that off, so I'm just going to spray it matte black. Right, there we go. Doesn't look too bad. Hopefully once it dries it will get a bit flatter. Now another thing I wanted to do was, I didn't want to run a front number plate, but I don't want to be illegal or anything. So I was thinking of making a removable bracket that would stand off from the crash support and allow me to thread in something like this, threaded rod, and allow me to access that from outside the car. So I was just having a little look, and I was thinking about all these solutions with magnets maybe, or getting a bracket made that has a little quick release bolt on it. But I just thought the horn is right here, and that stands off in its own little bracket. And I've got this, as I say, rod with an inner thread on it from my Mishimoto radiator kit. And I may actually just change the bolt that's holding the horn on to accept this. And if that sticks out far enough from the bumper and clears the bumper opening itself, maybe I would just throw my number plate onto that. So, today hasn't been a particularly successful day. So I got all my little bits done, got the crash bar painted, got a little temporary bracket. Potentially I'm going to fit a number plate there, got the headlight washers removed. But I can't get this front bumper to fit. Now, I've got a couple of bolts holding it in at the moment. One there, one there. But around the headlight surrounds, it will not sit flush. I just can't get it to tuck under this corner or under just about anywhere. And I've had the headlight surrounds off as a test and it fits straight on, but then you're left with a massive gap underneath the headlight, which isn't what I really want. I don't really want to resort to shaving these corners just yet, just because I just think that once, you'll be left with a gap there once that's actually straightened up. Same story on the other side really, just will not go in. Right, hello again guys. So back at it again, another day working on the bumper again. Put it off overnight, had a little think about it, did some research, looked up pictures and videos, and spoke to a few people that have installed the V2 kit, a couple of the guys in the UK that have installed the V3 kit, and so on, and kind of come up with a little bit of a game plan here. So let me go over to the original bumper, the new bumper, and I'll show you what my plan is. Pretty simple one, but hopefully it should allow the bumper to fit, and I may even just revise it at a later date. What I really want to do right now is just get the bumper on there for the most part, so I can move ahead, fit in the rest of the kit, and then eventually I'll come back and potentially just tidy up things as I go about. At some point I'll need to prep the whole kit, maybe apply a little bit of filler in spots, maybe sand it down in other spots, apply some high build primer, smooth it all out so it can get whatever it's going to get, paint, wrap, whatever it might be. So I'll probably do any kind of little refinement touches at that stage. But for now, I just want to get it on the car. Right, so coming over here, I've got the two bumpers here, as you can see, and I've got one of the headlight surrounds here. Originally, at least in Europe and the UK, of course, for the most part, these just hold the headlight washers, which is what those holes down there are. But I'm not going to be cutting those holes into the new bumper, of course, so I don't really need the headlight washers. Another purpose they serve is this channel here. It's not going to focus very well. There you go. So this channel you can see there, on the original bumper, you can see that it rather perfectly clips onto the bumper. So you can see all the way up to here. Clip, 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 clip. That clip isn't in, but you get the idea. Clip, 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 clip. All the way up to this corner. Now, unfortunately, I've heard some mixed responses in regards to fitment of this on the Rocket Bunny bumper. And I can imagine that possibly down to the thing, of course, is these kits are made in molds. What I'm led to imagine is that molds have a bit of a shelf life and they make X amount of kits and they have to remake the mold off of a master. So as you can imagine, the kits that come out first are probably pretty damn near perfect, and the kits that come out towards the end of the shelf life of the mold start to have a few little imperfections, and that's just kind of the nature of the beast with fiber reinforced plastic parts. So I've got it just kind of shoved on there, and it's difficult to see because both parts are black. But whereas the OEM bumper fit perfectly, there's a big gap there in the corner where it would meet the headlight, and it clips here, but as you can see is quite far off up here. And so what I think I'm going to do overall is actually ditch these headlight surrounds. Like I say, apart from that, they don't actually serve a massive purpose. The bumper fits 1,000 times better without them. The only problem I've ran into is that you actually get a little bit of a gap below the headlights. But having spoken to quite a few people that have had completed kits and they look absolutely fantastic, I found out they actually often don't run these either. And you don't actually notice especially in a lot of pictures, a lot of videos, you don't notice the gap. It's only really when you get up close, you as the owner are going to be the one that's going to notice this the most. And I thought about potentially shaving down the raised up surface there so it doesn't require to clip into the bumper. And that would mean that this bracket just gives lip under the headlight a little bit more support, pushes it up, and potentially stops it from having that gap. I think maybe I'll try that at a later date. I'll shave this down. I need to get a new Dremel tool really, so once I get that I can experiment with this and see if that helps. But I'm also worried about then the two surfaces vibrating and rubbing together and leading to a few annoying sounds down the road. So as you can see, without the surround, it does actually move a little bit. But you can't simply reuse the original bolts because that collar around the thread just behind the flange there. So what I've got here is I've just got one of the original bolts that hold the front wings, the front fender, whatever you want to call it, even the front bumper, and just put an even larger washer on it. Now, doesn't really move. Right, so just before I go ahead and get it fitted, so I've been looking at it from the outside, and a lot of, when you come to actually fit it, you need to cut off a lot of this, and also right down here. It might mean that this hole here, this hole's definitely not usable. It might mean that this hole here also isn't usable. But what I wanted to do was actually use that to tie it up in this corner to the original wing. So what I'm going to do is put a riv nut in that hole. Got one there. That's gone in all right. So I'll probably do the same thing on the other side, get it bolted onto the car. Right, here comes the moment of truth. So, this is generally advisable to start on the bottom, just to get this plastic under tray thing in the bumper. And then push it up at the top, like so. And I'm just going to put one of the just hand thread one of the bolts on the top here, just hold that top edge. Looking good. Now what I can do down here is, if I put these rivets in down here, I'll put one of these bolts. I've got a LIM 5 bolt, big washer, and a little plastic washer, just to give it kind of a nice little cushion. Right, so I've just put in these 3 bolts here, nice and sturdy. I'll put this rubber strip back in just so I can close the bonnet. It looks good. Right, and there we have it. I'm not sure how much you can see in this light. It's a bit too bright and a bit too dark in some areas. But yeah, as I said before, so I put the bolt up here, just kind of just in there. And the main thing really is if you're going to use any nuts and bolts, any screws, any whatever with vibro reinforced plastic in this case, it's always best to give it as much of a surface area to grip onto as possible. So in my case, I'm using nice big washers, and that just helps spread the load, stops any kind of high points of stress for it to crack. There's the bonnet closed, hood, whatever you want to call it. That's looking pretty good. Pretty good gaps around here. Painted my washer bolt black. It's not perfect, but so that as you come back, you don't see it poking out the corner there. Let's have a look at that gap I was talking about. So you can see there, that is the gap I was talking about. Now if you look at that particular angle, you can see it is quite bad. However, as you come back, yeah, I don't know about you, but I find that pretty difficult to spot from this angle and this distance. So I'm happy with that. So for now, I mean, that's the bumper pretty much fitted. So next steps now, as you can see, I've already started taping it up, will be to probably start cutting the front arches. And you can see there, with the wheel in place, just how much of the front bumper and the arch is actually going to have to come out. So I'll probably try and cut as much as possible, but I don't want to make the area around the bolts that is actually holding the kit on really thin. I want to give it a nice bit of meat to get hold on to. So that's it. That's the front bumper fitted. Let's give you another look around from the front. It's a shame it's a bit too bright out today. Makes it a little bit tricky to see. With the painted crash bar and the painted washer bolt will blend in quite nicely. Haven't put the grill on just yet, of course. Probably save that to the absolute end. Yeah, I think that just about wraps it up for here. So yeah, I think that about wraps it up for the front bumper. Like I said, I'm pretty happy with how that's fitted just for now. I hope to, you know, when I start cutting it, when I start putting all the arches on and start getting the kit kind of prepped and ready for paint or ready for wrap, then I'll probably start tidying it up. But for now, it's pretty solid. Means I can use that as a reference point to start fitting all the rest of the arches. And I'll probably talk about that in the next episode, how I'm going to tackle that. I'm going to go about progressing with that. Got myself a new angle grinder. But I've also got a couple of other tools, might give me slightly nicer cuts, especially on the thin sheet metal. Another thing I need to do at some point is have a look at creating some kind of guards for the engine bay and just for the bits like behind the lights and inside the arches here, because we don't have the best weather here in the UK. That goes without saying, I think. I've got some material back there, that like some thin plastic that can be heated up and molded, and I can put some holes in, probably use some of the original mounting points to clip that back, or I may use a combination of that and the original arch liners. Maybe cut those down a bit, all just so I can retain some form of weather protection. If you did enjoy this episode, do all that good YouTube stuff as I always say, and until I see you in the next episode, hope you have a good one. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye bye.